This session is being presented by the Division of Teaching and Learning, but it will include information from a broad array of teams, including asset management, communications, facilities, finance, information technology services, safety and security, and teaching and learning. My name is Mariel Milano. I'm the Director for Digital Curriculum at the district level for Orange County Public Schools. Our Senior Director's name is Maurice Dragon, and he is going to be trying to join us later in this session as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Many families may not realize that the LaunchEd Digital Learning Program is actually not new. It began in 2013 when we started deploying our one-to-one devices to students at our first 7 schools. We are now in our 7th and 8th cohort, and in August of 2020, we are excited to finally be one-to-one K-12 in all schools. The timing for this could not be better because students will be starting the school year at home due to the COVID response. This session is for any parent or student or staff member or community member who has an interest in digital learning and what it will look like in the LaunchEd at Home model beginning on August 10th. Now, our community is committed to giving you just what you need, just in time. This session is the first of 2 sessions that will be provided for families that are transitioning to digital learning for the first time. Today's focus is the what of digital learning. What exactly will you need to provide for your student? What will you need to be aware of for all participants at a school? Later on, you are also going to be able to get information at a school level for the how. How can you do specific functions within the LaunchEd Digital Learning Program so that you are able to assist your learner to the best of your ability. After today's session, you should be able to understand what digital learning is and be able to identify the changes that it will bring for your family. In general, you will be able to have your questions answered in 3 general areas. What is digital learning like and what will it look like at home? What changes can I expect as a parent? And what can I do to help prepare my family? The state of Florida defines digital learning as high-quality content in a digital format and online courses, personalized digital learning, a means for students to demonstrate what they know in their completed coursework, high-quality content and instructional materials in a digital format and online and blended learning courses. It also includes digital instruction and teachers, including infrastructure to support digital learning, online administration of assessments, digital tools for creation, collaboration, and communication. So it covers far more than just the device that we're providing to your family students. When students begin the school year, your school may be distributing devices to your students for the very first time, and parents can expect to see changes to the classroom environment, classroom curriculum, classroom instruction, and the homeschool connection as part of the LaunchEd at Home program. First, let's talk about changes to the instructional model. You may be wondering when students will use technology, and the short answer is in most things that they do. From August 10th and beyond, students will be learning at home in whole group, small group, and individual instruction facilitated by a remote teacher.
So when we talk about our blended learning experience, what we mean by that is that students are able to use both paper and they're able to use their laptop at home with LaunchEd at Home. Many of our schools may also be allowing our students to check out our textbooks and consumable materials when they pick up their laptop or iPad. So as a former kindergarten teacher, I know a lot of our kindergarten families are worried, are they only going to be learning on the computer? And the answer is no. They are going to be able to use paper materials when that is the most appropriate format for them or when it's more developmentally appropriate. In addition, you might be wondering, if it's not paperless, what exactly will things look like, okay? So if our elementary students will continue to be provided with their paper-based textbooks and their consumable textbooks that can be used in addition to the online textbooks that are provided through our district's Launchpad. And Launchpad is not a new platform either. This has been around for many years. Your students can access it through Google Chrome on their laptop or through the ClassLink Launchpad app on their iPad. Inside of the Launchpad, they are able to click on an icon called My Backpack. And inside of the My Backpack app are all of their textbooks, just like they were putting them inside their physical backpack. So what exactly is it going to look like starting August 10th at home? Let's break down some of the common questions. First of all, will your child be provided with a device? The answer is yes. They will be provided with a device K-12. But because this session is specifically targeted at elementary families, we want to look at the K-1 devices, which will be iPads. They are provided inside of a case that is called an OtterBox. And that case has a little kickstand at the back so that it can stand up if needed. Each child in the school will be provided with a device, okay? In grades 2 through 5, students will be provided with a laptop. This laptop, in some cases, may not be touchscreen, but it will be a traditional laptop. In grades 6 through 12, students are also provided with a laptop that is touchscreen. Both types of laptops include a web camera. We do not, however, provide headphones for our students for hygiene reasons, but we do encourage families to purchase headphones if needed so that multiple students can hear their teachers at the same time at home. If you have multiple children in Orange County Public Schools, each student receives a device. For K-1 students or any students who receive a touchscreen device, you may also want to purchase a stylus. Styluses are available in a broad array from Dollar Tree all the way up to very expensive styluses. You can pick the best one for your child. The reason that we're not providing those at a district level is because again, safety and health concerns. We want to make sure that something that is being touched specifically by your child is provided by the parent. Now, we also understand that if you're doing LaunchNet at home, it's going to be critical that you have internet connectivity. And so we are getting a lot of questions about if the district will be providing internet connectivity at home. Here's what we can offer. On our digital.ocps.net website, we have a free map of community Wi-Fi for families. In addition, all families who are eligible through the Free and Reduced Lunch program can apply for low-cost internet, often as low as $13.95 a month through our local cable providers such as Spectrum, Comcast, and CenturyLink. Finally, the district provides limited hotspots on a first-come, first-served basis to all students K-12, which provides 10 gigabytes or more of data each month complimentary. Your children can apply for a hotspot through the district's Launchpad. It's an icon right there called Hotspot Request Form, or parents can apply at digital.ocps.net. Another question that we hear often from our families is, when our children are at home, will it be safe for students to use the internet? And the answer is yes. All devices are filtered at home in addition to on campus. When a child is using a district device, it doesn't matter if they're on their parents' Wi-Fi, McDonald's Wi-Fi, an airplane's Wi-Fi, or even a cruise ship's Wi-Fi. Their internet traffic is funneled back through the district filter. And so all of their traffic will be filtered in compliance with the Children's Internet Protection Act, or CIPA, even when they're on a district-provided hotspot. This means that sometimes that websites that you may allow your child to visit personally, like YouTube, are not available for students at the younger grade levels. Again, all internet traffic is filtered by the district, and the types of sites that students can access are also decided by the district. It is also true that the internet filter is different per grade band, meaning that K-5 students have different access than students in grades 6 through 12. And all internet use is logged by the user so that we can track any internet use that is happening on our device to make sure that it is safe. Now, I'd like to be able to try to help you understand what a student's day will look like at home. So we are going to share a brief video, and hopefully the audio will work. If not, I'll narrate it for you. And we're going to give you a little bit of an insight for what this might look like. Now, before showing it, I do want to be clear that this is going to look different in every teacher's classroom. And so it's important to remember that this is an idea of some of the possibilities, but your teacher may have different items that they are going to do in their own classroom.
The OCPS Launch Ed at Home model is one of 3 options for families in the fall 2020 semester. Each day, your child will log into Canvas at the same time as the first bell would normally ring at school. Your child's teacher will take attendance each morning, and your child will go to school live 5 days a week. Once it is time for learning to begin, your child's teacher will be able to share lessons live from their desk or the board in their class with your child at home. Your child will follow the same schedule they would at their elementary school, but they will not be listening to direct instruction all day. Your child will alternate between their teacher's live lesson and time for independent practice. Their work will be graded, and students will receive progress reports and report cards. Children will also get to enjoy special areas. When their class takes a break for lunch or recess, so will your child, so they can stay active and healthy. You can even pop up to your enrolled school to pick up a grab-and-go lunch during the break. When the last bell ends for the day, students can complete their homework offline using consumable workbooks provided by the school when you pick up your laptop at the start of the school year. To learn more about the Launch Ed at Home model and view a sample day in the life of an elementary school student, please visit reopening.ocps.net.
Okay, so we hope that that was useful for you. The intent of sharing that again is to share some of the key possibilities for a particular school. It is not going to address all circumstances, but the key points are that students will be attending on a normal bell schedule, meaning that when the school day starts at 8:30 or 8:45, just like it would face-to-face, your child will log in. They'll go through a traditional school day with their teacher, and the school day will end at 3 o'clock or the time that the school normally ends face-to-face. It's also important to note that your students will have a break for lunch and recess, and will be able to attend special areas just like they would normally, such as art, music, and PE from home. It is also accurate that teachers will provide live daily lessons in ELA, math, and science. Social studies is typically embedded within the ELA block at the elementary school level. Your students will have daily live interaction with teachers, but they will also alternate between independent work and those live lessons. So they may not necessarily be on camera at all times. So one of the things that as a parent, and I've heard quite frequently, is a concern that the platform we're using for the Launch Ed at Home model is new, and it is not. The Launch Ed at Home model uses Canvas, which was introduced as the district's learning management system about 4 years ago. It also includes presenting the daily live lessons through an approved video conferencing platform such as Big Blue Button or Microsoft Teams. And both of those platforms are also not new to the district. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the way a learning management system works, a learning management system like Canvas is kind of like a school. It's the place that your child is going to go check in first thing in the morning. And when they go inside of Canvas, just like if they were to go inside a physical school building, they will see all of their classes right there in front of them. But instead of being doors in a building, they'll see them as icons. And those icons might say Miss Beck's third grade class, art, music, and PE. So each class will be a different icon. Once they click on an icon, just as if they were to walk through the door of a classroom, they will see the course. And the course is most similar to a classroom building in a school. It has different pieces of information in it. Think about it like different walls in a classroom or bulletin boards that might be hanging up. It includes icons for things like information, maybe classroom newsletters, a place for parent information, and even a place for students to ask for help. This is just an example. Every teacher can design their own course, but these are some of the common things you'll see. In addition, you'll likely see a button for live lessons, like the orange one you see at the bottom of the screen. When you click on that live lesson button, it will take you into a meeting with your teacher, kind of like being able to see a lesson that's starting face-to-face in the classroom. So if you've not used web conferencing before, we're on a web conference right now, like WebEx. But our students will be joining through Teams or Big Blue Button. A web conference is like a live lesson. On a very large web conference, like the one you and I are on right now, we keep your microphones and videos muted because there are hundreds of people on the call. But in a classroom, your teacher will be allowing your child to have their microphone unmuted and their web camera on so that they can interact, just like in the classroom. In a live lesson, students can see their teacher and teachers can see the students. The teacher can also share content with students. For example, this teacher on the bottom right-hand corner is sharing a picture of her course web page with her students to help them navigate and find something on the screen. Your child will also be able to share content with their teachers, and students can talk to the teacher and their peers in the web conference. A common concern for parents is how will the teacher monitor that kids are really participating in class? Well, one way is that they will be able to see your child on screen. There will be times where your teacher requires the student to have their web camera on so that they can monitor that they're participating in either the live lesson or in some forms of independent work. It's also true that your teacher can ask your child to share their screen with them, like you see at the bottom right-hand corner. Some of our platforms like Google Docs and Nearpod allow our teachers to see what students are doing in real time, so they can actually see them completing their work just as if they were standing over them, watching them write on a piece of paper. A common question from our families is that they want to know how our students, especially our young students, will learn how to behave online. Each year, all of our students, K-12, participate in digital citizenship classes in school. This isn't new, but it will be expanded for Launchpad at Home. They complete these lessons through their ELA classroom in middle school and high school, and in elementary school during the ELA or English language part of the day. In those courses, your children will learn more than just how to read an online textbook. They'll have lessons that are specific to internet responsibility and safety that are taught to them in a grade and age appropriate way. They'll also learn how to use new tools such as Google Docs and Google Drive. So let's talk about what types of tools your child will have access to with Launchpad at Home. Well, because they are at home, all of the students' tools are available in the cloud. That means that they can access those tools from the district device, a personal device, or any other sort of device that they have access to. Your child will be able to access tools that are inside of the Google Apps for Education suite. They include, let me refer to my notes really quickly. They include Google Drive, Gmail, Google Jamboard, Google Docs, Google Drawings, Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Forms, and Google Calendar. They will be able to access these tools 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will also not be able to lose any of their work because it will all be stored in the cloud. When your students are at home, they will be storing their work in the cloud in Google Drive. That means that the documents that they save will be accessible from any device. They will be able to submit their work through the Canvas Learning Management System. Our hope is that providing our students with exciting digital tools will enable them to create exciting digital products. We hope that students will be able to do far more than just digital worksheets, and that their teachers will encourage them to create things like ebooks, comics, newsletters, infographics, podcasts, and maybe one day even their own website. When your children are at home, you will not have the benefit of being able to look inside their backpack for their planner or notes from the teacher, but you will have access to the Canvas calendar in the LMS. This is where our teachers will be able to note any assignments that are upcoming for your student. Any assignment that has a due date is automatically put on the Canvas calendar for parents to be able to see through their Canvas parent account. You'll notice that on the screen here, there are different color-coded assignments that stand for each course or each subject area. This is great for parents because it provides them just what they need just in time. It will also be really easy for you to communicate with your child's teacher through the Canvas Parent app. The Canvas Parent app is available for iOS or Android and is also available through the OCPS Parent Portal, which is the website you go to when you want to check Skyward. This app allows parents to view upcoming or past assignments, check on grades that students have received for an assignment in Canvas, view the course calendar, and receive course announcements from the teacher. It will also be even easier for you to decide and customize what kind of alerts you want to get about your child's progress. You'll be able to set alerts for things like a grade that falls below a certain percentage, a missing assignment, or certain course announcements. If you're like me, you might text more than you talk on the phone. And so you can decide if you want to receive those alerts via SMS text message, email, or even via Twitter. After this session, your school, especially if you're an elementary school, will likely host a digital open house next week. The best way that you can help prepare your family is to attend the digital open house if it's offered. Those digital open houses will also occur online. You will not need to go into your child's school. During that digital open house, your school will walk you through the how for the child at their campus. By the how, I mean they'll walk you step by step through how you do certain things, like how you find the live lessons at your child's school, which button to push, how to access textbooks, how to check your student's online planner in Canvas Parent, how to communicate with your student's teachers inside of Canvas Parent, how to help your child with homework, and they'll also go over the specific responsibilities that as a parent you would have if there's any damage to the device. You'll also get information about how to give permission for your students, as you do every year, for use of photo and video, and also for us to be able to share any directory information about your child. That's not new. That's been around for decades, but it's super important as part of the LaunchJet at Home model. You'll receive information about your school's digital open house through social media, email, Connect Orange, or maybe even a physical invitation. There are a lot of topics that we can help you with today. For example, we can discuss any questions you have about live streaming, video conferencing, Canvas or Canvas Parent, Launchpad, G Suite for Education, how your students can get help and support, parent resources, devices, and hotspots. There are just 4 things, though, that I can't help you with today based on my area of expertise. I can't help you with any health and safety procedures related to COVID-19. I also can't answer any staffing questions about what might be happening at your school. Your school principal is still making those decisions. I also can't address anything that is being bargained or done by legal right now. I can help you understand how this will affect ESE students, but I can't answer any questions that are specific to one student's IEP or Section 504 plan. And I'm going to dig in and start answering some questions for you. The first question I see is that if you're using a personal device and not a school device, can you still log into Canvas? And the answer is yes, your student can log into Canvas from any device. They can do that by visiting launch.ocps.net, and they'll log in with the same credentials they would on a school computer, meaning their student number and the password provided by the school. I see one parent has said that they tried to log into the OCPS parent portal and they see a little lock next to the Canvas icon. That lock doesn't mean you're locked out. It means that the password is stored for you. So when you click on that icon for the first time, it may prompt you to set up your account. There's a question here about what would happen in a power outage. Again, it would be best to put your questions in the QA panel. I'm trying to work through the chat as quickly as possible, but the QA panel is best. So in a power outage at home, your students would simply log in when the power outage is over. On campus, there are backup generators. So generally speaking, teachers who are teaching from campus wouldn't experience a power outage, but certainly we would make accommodations if that were to happen. That's pretty rare on a school campus. If they were marked absent during that time, that would certainly be an excused absence if there was a documented power outage. Candace has a question about art and music resources. Yes, your school will communicate with you about any art and music resources that are needed. Some schools are providing a list of common materials like crayons and colored pencils that are normally on a school supply list that students will be using in art. Others are having specific materials like a recorder or something like that picked up at the school. So wait to hear from your child's principal in that area. Robin has a question about if each child will receive an email address. Yes, and that's not new either. Our students have always had district email addresses, and it is a protected Gmail account. It's an education account. Their email address is their student number at students with a plural S, students.ocps.net. They are able to use that email address to email their teachers and other peers. They cannot use that email address to send or receive messages from people outside of the district. There's a question here specific to captioning in Big Blue Button and whether or not all live lessons will be captioned. So Big Blue Button does not provide automated captioning for students. However, there are other solutions that do provide automated captioning. If your child requires automated captioning in a live lesson for a specific disability, I recommend you contact your staffing specialist at your school so that the teacher understands what specific accommodations they may need to make. Right now, the Food and Nutrition Services team is communicating with schools about what grab-and-go lunches will look like, but your child will have a designated lunch period every day, just like they do in class. It's typically about 30 minutes or less, but my understanding is that parents will be able to pick up lunches for students at school, potentially for more than one day at a time, providing information from FNS. So hold on just a couple more days and I'm sure you'll get an update on that from the school. Are you going to need a printer? The intent is not for parents to have to print items at home, but some students may want to print things out to be able to access something in particular. So it might be a good idea to have a printer, but it is not required. Is the amount of homework based on the teacher or based on what the district sets? It is based on teacher discretion, so teachers will have different homework practices. Is there a supply list for special areas? There may be a supply list for special areas. You want to check in with your principal on that. Kindergarten students will receive devices on or before August 10th, and they will have everything needed on their device already. There's a question about gifted services and if they'll still be provided through Launchpad at Home. Yes, your child will still receive gifted services as typically scheduled, and your school will be able to provide you that schedule. If your child or if your school hasn't reached out to you about when device distribution will happen, I recommend that you give them until about Thursday, and if you haven't heard from them by Thursday, definitely reach out. That could mean that they don't have an updated email or phone number for you, and we want to make sure you get all that information. There's a question here about, are the applications going to be the same at every grade level? So our core applications like Launchpad, Canvas, Google Apps for Education will be the same at every grade level. But there are some things that vary from grade to grade. For example, there are some supplementary materials that teachers can choose to use or not use, and those may vary. There's a question here about who determines if they use BBB or Teams. With Big Blue Button and Microsoft Teams, that is school and teacher preference. Both are available. There's a question about attendance. Attendance works just like it does face-to-face. It does not work the same way it did in the spring. The state of Florida requires that the Launchpad at Home program take daily attendance and that students attend on a regular bell schedule. That means that when school starts at 8:45 or 8:30, your student must be present and in attendance in that live conference to be marked here. They cannot attend or on their own pace. Okay, so this is a scheduled program, and they will be marked here each day, just like they would be in elementary school. And if they are not present, they will be marked absent. If they are late to attending the meeting, they will be marked tardy. So I would check your school's website for the start time for each day, but typically elementary school starts between 8:30 and 8:45 daily. The Canvas site, somebody's saying the Canvas site looks like it's down. It is not down. I was in there today. However, your individual teachers' courses are going to be released on August 7th after all schedules have been completed. There was a question here from one of our parents about if you can use a personal device instead of a district device, or if you can connect your iPad or laptop to a larger screen like a TV in your house. Absolutely, that's parent discretion. If you selected Launchpad at Home from the survey, that automatically was transmitted to your school. They have your registration and they'll be reaching out to you before August 10th. So there's nothing to worry about there. All schools are being asked to use Canvas. If your school is using something different, then that's going to need to be something you talk about with that teacher. But at the district level, we only support Canvas as our learning management system. So there's a question here about the difference between Canvas and Skyward. So I like to think about the difference being that Canvas is capturing what's happening in the moment, like a live classroom. And Skyward is like the official grade book of record. So it's a place where historical information is kept. So your final grades after they've happened, your attendance after it's happened, test scores after they've happened, whereas Canvas is really your online classroom. It's what's happening in the moment. I hope that helps. Here's a great question about if teacher lessons will be recorded. So again, I want to remind you that your child must attend live lessons as they are scheduled. They cannot, for example, watch a recorded lesson on a different day and then say, oh, I watched that, I was here. They have to be there in that moment. However, teachers do have the option to record their lessons at their discretion and post them so that students can review them later as a study tool. So a question here is the Canvas app similar to ClassDojo? It could be considered similar to ClassDojo because it provides parent updates, but I would recommend that you download the Canvas parent app for sure. One of the questions here is, can children use notebooks? Absolutely. If your child needs to write something down at home, you're welcome to provide them with a notebook. iPads are the Lightning connectors, so they do have, if you're going to be buying a headphone for that, it would be for the most current version of the iPad, and they do also, you can use Bluetooth headsets with laptops or iPads. If you're one of the families who has signed up for face-to-face beginning on August 21st, your school might have shared that there's additional Q&A sessions available for that are happening tomorrow as well. So please feel free to join us tomorrow if you are a face-to-face parent, and we can go over some of the specifics for that. Great question about attendance, especially between the 10th and the 21st. If children attend, when do they get marked present? So just like in previous years, the first day that your child attends a lesson is the first day that they are marked present. And every day after that, they're either marked present or absent. If for some reason your child does not attend school for the first time until, let's say, August 11th or 12th, they won't be marked present or absent until that time. However, it is important to remember that the 10th to the 21st are learning days. Those are not free time or enrichment or anything like that. They are normal school days, and your child will have new content that is being shared with them during that time. So if they do miss 2 full weeks of school, that's a significant amount of content to make up. So again, a clarification here is the 10th to the 21st just a time to get accustomed to new systems? No, it is not. So your child will be given time to acclimate to those new systems, and they will be teaching them the new systems during that time, but they will also be covering content during those times. Here's a question. If you feel it's safe to send your child to school, can you switch from LaunchEd at home to face-to-face in the middle of the semester? So right now, what the district has published is that LaunchEd at home families will be able to revisit their decision at the end of the first 9 weeks, which happens in mid-October. So in mid-October, you will be able to decide if you want to send your child face-to-face or continue online. It cannot be decided, let's say, from day to day, because schools need to plan. So I cannot answer questions about specific ESE IEPs. However, the question here is, does the child need to be online every day or all day? The child needs to be online for their scheduled live lessons that the teacher is providing. You'll find out what teacher your child is going to get at Meet the Teacher. Most schools are doing Meet the Teacher on Thursday or Friday of this week. That will be virtual, and you'll be getting information about that from your school. Again, if you don't hear from them by Thursday, I recommend that you reach out to the principal to make sure they have your correct email address and phone number. Here's a question about if my child is not going to be available till August 18th. So if they do not enter school at all until the 18th, they will be marked present for the first time on the 18th, and then absent on any days they miss after the 18th. Prior to the 18th, they would be listed as not enrolled. However, again, there will be new content shared between the 10th and the 18th. Second grade students receive a laptop. Here's a question about FSA. Do we know if it's happening? What's going to go on? And the answer is we don't know. The state has not shared any information yet. And so in my world, I always say we plan for the worst, but hope for the best. So as of right now, we are planning for all students to take the FSA and EOCs as regularly scheduled until the state shares something different. The question here again is, the 10th through the 20th are regular school days. Yes, school starts on August 10th. Here's another question. Can my child just check in once in the morning and then not attend the rest of the day? No, your child must be present in every lesson that the teacher is providing throughout the day. So if the teacher is providing 2 lessons that day, they need to be there for both lessons. If they're providing 3 lessons, they need to be there for 3 lessons. And your teacher is going to provide you that class schedule in their Canvas course. The other question here is there only one window in October to be able to switch to face-to-face? Right now, the district has only advertised one window to switch to face-to-face, but that may be updated as the situation with COVID-19 kind of transpires in our local community. So definitely stay tuned for more information from the district, but as of right now, that's what's been shared. There's some question about VPK and if they'll be using Canvas. My understanding is that VPK has some flexibility about what system they're using because our students in VPK typically don't use learning management systems. So please ask the VPK teacher what they'll be using. So last question before I switch over to the QA panel is, will middle school students have to log on to each period individually? Yes. Middle school and high school students must attend on a standard bell schedule. They will be present in every class period. There is a specific session for Lunstead at Home for middle school and high school families that will be this Friday, where we can address some of those concerns for secondary. Here was a question. I didn't hear what you said about them being able to use paper. Yes, elementary school students absolutely can use paper as a part of instruction at home or in school. Will books be distributed at the same time as devices? That is up to your school, but they are able to pass out textbooks as needed. This is a great question. One of the parents here says they don't have a lot of personal books in their home library. How can students achieve their reading goal? So we actually have a full library of ebooks for students of all grade levels. And that is available on the Launchpad under the Destiny Follett app. We'll be sending information to parents out about that, but they can read ebooks if you don't have books at home. We're happy to support you. Is a stylus required or optional? It is optional, but is definitely going to be helpful for grades K and 1. Will my child need to return their laptop? Right now, laptops and iPads for elementary school are returned at the end of each school year or if you withdraw from school. Is technical support available? Yes. Inside of Canvas, there is a button for technical help for students where they can submit a ticket directly to Canvas. And then there is also a student tech request ticket that can be submitted for anything like a cracked screen or any latency that's happening on the device, and a sticker with that information will be placed on your student's device when you pick them up. Here's a question from one of our families about, is there a specific length for each live lesson? There is not, but think about it like the school day, for example. If in school, students typically were learning math from 9 to 10, they'd be learning math from 9 to 10 online. Is there a way to sync calendars so that your child's calendar can show up in Outlook? There is. We can post some directions for that on the school website. You can sync a calendar. Does Canvas and Skyward exist for apps in iOS? Yes, there is a Canvas parent app for iOS and Android, as well as a Canvas student app for iOS and Android. Will you have homework? I don't know. That's going to depend on every individual teacher. I can't answer that question, but it is possible that you may have homework. Can you use your own devices? Yes, you may. You may use a personally owned device. What will PE look like? That is a very good question. I know that our PE teachers are meeting this week to look at what that might look like. But for example, it might include PE teachers demonstrating something live and students practicing that same skill at home. It also might include them providing instructions or a list of activities that students will do on their own at home. So it will look different in every grade level, but there will be PE direct instruction provided. Do I think you should pick up a device even if you have one at home? That's a good question. I always think it's nice to pick up the district device just in case, especially if you have more than one child, so that way you make sure you have enough devices at home. Will an online student be able to see the entire classroom? So that's a tricky question. And the reason it's a tricky question is because not every classroom, well, let me say, how do I want to say this? Okay, so after August 21st, when face-to-face students can return, some students may have only, some classrooms may have only face-to-face students in them and no Launched Ed at Home students. Some classrooms may have all Launched Ed at Home students like this and no face-to-face students. And some classrooms may have a blend of both. If there's a blend of both, then students at home will be able to see a portion of that physical classroom. What size iPad are they getting for K&1? It is 11 inches. How does my child get a hotspot? They get a hotspot by filling out the hotspot form, which is available at digital.ocps.net. Can they do Launched Ed at Home for things like speech therapy? Yes, it can be provided virtually, and if the ESE service is not able to be provided remotely, then they can make an appointment to come into the school building for that service. Can you print out the Canvas calendar? Yes, you can. On the first day, the question is will the child be able to tell from Canvas where to go? Yes, it'll say something like Miss Milano's kindergarten class. The online library, again, is in the Launchpad app at Follett Destiny. If you have 2 children, the Canvas parent app consolidates the calendars together for you. And if a child breaks a device, the question is there a fine assessed? Yes, there is. And again, that is not new. Marcella, which questions did you ask that were not addressed? Skyward is available on the OCPS parent portal. I can post that link for you if you would like. So Jessica, this is a great question. It would work the same way it does in a normal classroom. Jessica's question was if they have a doctor's appointment and they're going to be late to a live session, what would happen? Same thing that would happen if they were late at school. You'd submit a doctor's note and that tardy would be able to be marked as excused. Beth's question is about iReady diagnostics. iReady is going to be available to students. I do believe they're looking at changing the diagnostic window, but they're going to be providing more specific information to parents about the procedures for classroom level assessments. If you don't see your child's school listed on the Canvas parent app, I don't want you to panic, okay? If it's a new school, they'll be added before the 10th, but here's kind of a little secret. You can click on any school and it's going to take you to the login page, and once you set up your account, it will automatically link you to the right school on the back end. So just go ahead and click on any school to set up your account. There was a quick question here about if your student number is the same from year to year. Yes, it is. It's the same your entire time in OCPS. There's another question here about if Launched Ed at Home, you can continue past October if you'd like. Absolutely. You can totally continue on after that time, at least until the end of the semester, and the end of the semester is at the end of December. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Beth. So the question Beth had was about small groups and discussion. So if the teacher wants to place children in small groups, they can do that by shooting them into breakout rooms. And what that does is that creates kind of like mini web conferences with small groups of students that the teacher can supervise. And when it's time for that discussion to be over, they can kind of pull them back into the main room. If you have a kindergarten student and you don't know their student ID number yet, please, please, please don't worry. You can get that right from the school. They have it at their disposal, so just reach out to them. I certainly hope that this was a valuable use of your time and it answered a lot of your questions. But again, if you have specific questions to your child, you can always reach out to your school, or you can reach out to us at digitallearning@ocps.net. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.